Well, and maybe now looking at the previous generation, we see it differently. We could very much see it differently. We can see it differently from a younger point of view because we don't have the history of the pain, the trauma. We don't have quite the history yet, so we're not as heavy from a younger standpoint. But then from an older standpoint, now we have the wisdom because now we can look back on it. And I think that's so much what our generations are doing right now is just, I just can't relate to these young kids, the way they're thinking and this black and white thinking and everything's my fault. And then the younger generation saying, and I won't speak for you guys, I want you to jump in, saying, yeah, but we see how you screwed up.
Right. And that's what I was like thinking with my mom. I'm always like, especially as I was studying child development and I was pursuing my career as being a teacher and a director. And I always was like, my mom could have loved me better and she should have loved me like this. And she shouldn't have like thanked me. And because I just was learning a whole new way to teach and love and upbring children, that's where a lot of my anger came from. And it just justified me not talking to her because of the way I feel like I should have been raised versus the way I was raised. But through that journey of actually putting myself through school, then I realized like how we develop as humans and how I was able to reflect on like, she did the best she knew how to do from how she was raised. And then I remembered the stories that she would tell me on how she was raised. And then I was like, wow, she didn't know any better. And so I think that's where we do have to get to is just reflecting and hearing and seeing. And we have been provided a lot of information about our parents, but it's so easy to just like go back to that should. And it's like, but you can't do that one to yourself or to that other person. And that's like my biggest, I think, cognitive distortion as we're going through this, just like that emotional reasoning that we have to do with ourselves.
Yeah, the self-talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you just said reminded me like we didn't have the internet. Okay. I had two books. What to Expect When Expecting, What to Expect the First Year. What to Expect the first year. It's like, what happens after the first year? That was it. That was all there was. So, to your point, it's just, we did the best with the tools that we were given, most of those handed down from our parents. And I think that's what's been so hard for my generation and probably Cheryl's too, is that we really thought we did it so differently. My generation was the latchkey kids. We went home alone and we did everything alone and we fed ourselves. We did our homework. We were always alone. You didn't get to do after school activities because there was nobody to pick you up or drive you. You rode the bus home and that was that. So with my kids, I was there for them. I did my whole life, my whole career, everything was running around them because I didn't want them to have my life. And so that's what I think has been so hard for us is we thought we did such a better job based on what we were given. And I think probably every parent feels that way. They know their childhood and how much more horrendous it was. So they feel like they just did a better job. And now, wait, what? We're not being appreciated and acknowledged for that. Even though we were for many years, all the Mother's Day cards, you're the best mom ever, I mean, just we got that validation for many years and then that rug got pulled out from underneath us.